Thought I'd do something different in this video that I really haven't done before, and that is to share ideas about music. I have to throw the word indie in there so that indie people think I'm being cool, but you know, the word indie has a lot of different definitions, and it's never had one tight, narrow definition. It's never supposed to have had one narrow, tight definition. It is always supposed to have meant independent. Indie is short for independent, meaning independent thinking, meaning it came from one brain, not all these other trends out here in this other mainstream world. So that's what indie means. It doesn't mean punk, it doesn't mean electronica, it doesn't mean new wave, it doesn't mean reggae, it means all those things. It can be all those things is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be this cookie cutter formula of one sound. So what I do think is cool about indie music is that it can be anything. You know, there are indie labels, and there have been indie labels since the beginning of blues and jazz, which goes all the way back to the World War I era, because that's when, like I say in my video called History of Indie Music, that's when the first indie music began, because that's when the original patents on the big three labels expired, to where they had to share the technology with a bunch of labels, and that created literally thousands of labels. It started out as just 3 labels. After the patents expired, that's when it became thousands of labels. And those thousands of labels weren't big corporations, they were small, regional, indie labels. Now, the word indie probably didn't come into the lexicon until maybe the 70s during the punk thing. But the actual thinking behind what indie is, which is to self-publish or to put out your own music or to release music that's different from the mainstream or to not be anything about anything that's already out there and just to be completely original. That's what indie is about. Anyway, there needs to be new ideas in indie music. So instead of E, which is always in rock and roll, think of a variation of E that's like E, not necessarily E7 or E minor, but maybe take E, add another finger here. Who's ever used that before? I don't even know what that chord is called. You're going to go, oh, if I use that idea, then it's not being original. No, because songwriting is about taking bits and pieces of musical ideas and creating something brand new. So try using a chord like this. I think that's a beautiful sounding chord. And before I made this video, I really have never played this chord before in my life. Even though I'm sure it has a name and I'm sure that it has been used, I just can't think of any song that has this chord in it. Can you? Let's hear how it blends with A. Ooh, it works. How about D? Yeah, it works with that too. Anyway, there are millions of different things you can do on the guitar to sound different, and I'm tired of hearing people act like there are no new ideas in music, and there never can be, because that's basically giving up when you think that way. Best thing you could do is do what the Beatles did. I love talking about them because they created a model that has never been outdone. No one's sold more music ever than the Beatles. And they proved that you can do it using your own brain. In other words, being completely original. And every song they did sounded different from all their other songs. Just like every album had its own flow to it and its own identity. And that's what all indie bands should be. The Beatles ran their own independent label. Yes, it was backed by a major, but they had complete control over what they were putting out. And that is the true spirit of indie music. So always think of new ideas, always explore, and don't be afraid to go against the grain.